Hello there. Today we're going to talk about modeling multi-step problems. Please turn to your workbook, page 20, and follow along as I do the problems on the board. Please pause the video when you want to try it on your own or when I ask you to pause the video. And make sure that anything I'm writing down, you're also writing down, so we can practice the idea of modeling these word problems. All right, so let's start with number 7 on the top of page 200. Let's read number 7. There are 4 vans and 2 cars going to a museum. Each van carries 9 people, and each car carries 3 people. Write an equation to represent the number of people who travel in a van V. Then write an equation to represent the total number of people who go to the museum T. So there are 2 things I need to do here. There's actually 2 equations I need to write. I need to write an equation about just the people in a van, and then I need to write an equation about all the people. I also have a lot of numbers going on in the top part. So I have 4 vans and 2 cars, but it also has different number of people in each of those vehicles. So I have 9 people in the vans and 3 people in the cars. So I'm going to write the van has 9 people and the car has 3 people, just because I like to make sure I have all my information very clear. Okay, and then I have 4 vans and 2 cars. You can mark up your problem exactly like I'm doing. That helps you make sure you understand what it's asking you. Okay, before I write my equation, I want to make sure that I'm really clear on my answer. And I would like to draw a picture for this. I'm going to draw a bar diagram. You could draw vans and cars, absolutely. I am not a good drawer, so I'm not going to do that. Okay, so here, there's my 4 vans and then my 2 cars. I wish my cars were a little smaller, but that's okay. So my 4 boxes right here, those are going to be my vans, and my 2 boxes right here, those are my cars. Why don't you pause the video and see if you can plug in the numbers of each box that should go there. Remember, there are 4 vans and 3 cars, 2 cars. Each car has 3 people. Each van has 9 people. So pause the video and do that. All right, so hopefully you have 4 9s and 2 3s in your boxes. All right, now my first direction that I need to do is write an equation to represent the number of people who travel in a van V. All right, so here goes my equation. Now, I'm thinking there's 2 different ways to do this. If I look at all my vans, 9, 9, 9, and 9, I'm kind of thinking there's 2 different operations. Why don't you pause the video, try to write down at least one, but maybe you know both of them, and then I'm going to write them too and we'll compare. Okay, so I think the easier equation, right, if I have 4 9s, we know our multiplication. I'm going to say that V equals 4 times 9, because I have 4 vans, each van has 9 people. That's a multiplication sentence. But I also know that multiplication is repeated addition. And so what I could do is 9 people plus 9 people plus 9 people plus 9 people. That one is not as easy to do as 4 times 9, but it still will get you the right answer. So either one of those works. Okay, but now we have to do the total. So I'm going to write T equals. I think one of the things they want us to do is use the variable V, because we know now that V equals 4 times 9, which is 36 people. So what iReady wants us to try to do is use that variable. So I know to find the total, I'm going to do V, which are all the people in the vans, plus, and then I need to do my cars. Well, I could do 3 times 2, I could do 3 plus 3, or I could do 6, right? So T equals V plus, I'm going to use my parentheses to know that I am putting this in a group, and then I'll add it to the total. I could do v plus 3 plus 3. Or I could do t equals v plus 6. All of those work. This one is the main goal, though. That's the one where it shows that you understand that you're using multiplication here and you're adding your variable. Why don't you pause the video and tell me what t equals? What does t equal? And make sure you have a label. Okay. Hopefully you answered 42 people. They're not asking you to do that. You didn't have to find the answer. They want you to put all of your time into creating an equation. Any of these work. Okay, let's try another one. Miguel has 28 markers. His sister has 33 markers. They buy 3 more boxes of markers. Each box has 8 markers. Write an equation to represent the total number of markers Miguel and his sister have. Show your work. All right, I'm going to do another box like I did with the last one. Okay, and I'm going to start off with my larger numbers of what the kids have, and then these are the boxes they're going to buy. Those are the smaller boxes. So why don't you pause the video and complete those boxes with the correct numbers in it. Okay, and reread the problem if you need to. There's a lot of numbers in this problem. Okay, in my first box, I'm going to put 28, because that's Miguel. And then his sister has 33. And then they buy 3 more, and each of those 3 has 8 in them. So your box should look like that. Okay, now let's write our equation. So we want to talk about the total markers, right? So I'm going to use M because that's what we're talking about. I know that my first 2 numbers are going to be added. So I'm going to do 28 plus 33. I know that right away. I don't need to use any multiplication to solve that. And then I'm going to add this part. So instead of saying 24, I'm going to use the parentheses that we did in the last problem. And I'm going to make a multiplication equation. So 8 and 8 and 8, of course I could add those, but that's not as easy as multiplication. So I'm going to put in my parentheses 3 boxes with 8 markers in each box. So I know that with markers, Miguel had 28, his sister had 33, and now they're adding 3 boxes of 8, and of course that would be 24, but we're showing we know where we got the 24, and that's the whole purpose of this. Why don't you pause the video and see if you can solve this, even though they're not asking you to, why not try it? So I'm going to do 28 plus 33 is 24. Well, I'm going to group 8 and 4 together because I know that's 12, and then 12 plus 3 is 15. Carry the 1. I have 1 plus 2 is 3, another 3 is 6, and 2 is 8. Woo! That is a lot of markers, and you always, always, always want something. All right, let's try the last one on this page together. Mrs. Barker buys tickets to the school play. She buys 2 adult tickets for $8 each and 3 child tickets for $5 each. She uses a coupon for $2 off the total amount. Write an equation to represent the total amount Mrs. Barker pays for tickets. Show your work. Okay, so this one is a little bit trickier. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with our bar diagram for tickets. Okay? If you want to pause the video and try it yourself, you can definitely do that. So first I'm going to make my adult boxes, and then I'm going to make my child boxes. Okay, so I have 5 boxes. My 2 adult tickets were $8 each. Always put the dollar sign to remind yourself that that's what you're working with. And then my 3 smaller boxes are for the child tickets, and those are $5. Okay, so that is going to be my total amount of money spent. But because I have that $2, I'm going to need to do another box down here, okay? This little guy is going to represent the $2 that I'm taking off. The rest of this is going to be how much that is. Okay, so I think we need to start with the top part first, okay? Again, we're going to use equations and parentheses to do this. So let's figure out how much the adult tickets would be. So I know that so let's do tickets, right? T equals. My first parenthesis is going to be 2 groups of 8. So 2 times 8. Now I need to add, right? Because if you were to do this in your head, you would do 16 plus 15. That would be how you would solve this, and then you would do minus 2. We are trying to write those equations again with parentheses. So to get the 16, we did 2 times 8. To get the 15, we did 3 times 5. And then at the end, we need to include this, minus 2. Right? If I were to solve this, it would look the same as the numbers up here. 16 plus 15 minus 2. So see if you can solve that. Do the 16 plus the 15 first. What do you get there? You get $31 minus $2, and that is going to give me $29 spent on the tickets. Okay, so what I would like you to do is turn to page 202, and I would like you to solve those numbers on your own. Numbers 2, 3, and 4. Pause the video, and then I'm going to put the answer key up, and I want you to check your work based on the answers the book is giving. Okay, so pause the video, solve page 202, and play it again to check your answers. Okay, so number 2, you should have both A and D circled. For number 3, it's showing possible work. So it looks at your multiplication sentence for comic, chapter, posters, and picture book. It says you can draw a bar model or a picture. You can do either one. And then here is a possible solution. 3 times 5 plus 2 times 9 plus 4 times 2 plus 7. Now, of course, you could have z equals 15 plus 18 plus 8 plus 7, but that is not really practicing what we're trying to practice here, which is our parentheses. I have no idea why my numbers are so squiggly. Okay, and then number 4, after you use the table, you should have an equation, something like t equals 12 times 100 plus 20 times 50, okay? That is what your equation looks like. You didn't have to solve them. They just want you writing the equation. Okay, nice job.